Hello, Africa. This is Africa Talk to Me. Today, this is a program where we discuss issues that affect Africa from Cape to Cairo. Things why we are where we are economically, politically, why it is that we are at the end of the queue on the world matters, especially economically. Today, I'm discussing with Mr. Henry Ndala. Mr. Henry Ndala is from Malawi, like we do every day. Every time we discuss with people from different countries of Africa, and today I'm privileged to get to have Mr. Ndala from Malawi. Welcome, Mr. Ndala.
Thank you, sir.
As we discuss Malawi, we will discuss Africa as well. So I've got a few questions to Mr. Ndala here. It's about the opposition in Malawi. Could we say that there is opposition in Malawi in the sense of the word?
I would say yes. The opposition is very, very strong in Malawi.
Yeah.
That can be proved by when we had the elections 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The opposition was second, very close to the ruling party.
Yeah.
In terms of votes, so it's very, very popular and very, very strong.
As compared to Africa as a whole, would you say the political processes in Malawi would be better off than other countries in Africa, or is it that it's the same like it is elsewhere in Africa, or how do you put it?
I would say it's better than most African countries. Because when we started our multi-party system in 1995, 94, since that time, I think we've had how many parties? 3 or 4 parties heading the states.
Okay.
Unlike in other countries, regardless of the multi-party system, it's still one same old party running the government. But in Malawi, we had UDF. Who had DPP, who had PP, and we have having DPP as well. So this competition is there. So it shows democracy is taking its course.
Okay. In terms of in other countries there's violence. Like a good example is in Kenya. Each time there's an election in Kenya, thousands of people die because either they support the other camp or the other side. Have you, as Malawi, experienced that?
There's been very little violence here and there. You can't stop that.
Yeah.
Sometimes because people's views are different, people don't want to accept the results. But I think it's not as bad like what happened in Kenya.
Yeah.
Just very few people are put in violence, but eventually people accept the results. The elections, yeah.
And that, I know largely Malawi is regarded in the world measurements, so to speak, as one of the most peaceful countries. So would we take it that it's because of that fact that people naturally are peaceful within the country, that they've allowed democracy to thrive, rather than having the same political party in power? I understand Dr. Kamuzu Banda had been there for quite a long time, and then when he left, that's when the multi-party system so started. And like you rightfully said, 3 parties have already been in power, and some have lost elections or come back in power or whatever has happened. Would we put it to the people, or is it the government that is ensuring that everything is peaceful and fair?
In terms of being in a very peaceful country, strangely enough, the country was more peaceful when you had one party system.
Yeah.
But what I would say here now, because there have been a bit of civic education to the people.
Yeah.
That's why even during the elections, there's a little bit of fight, not as much as in other countries.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because every party has got people from the 3 regions. It's unlike in other countries whereby parties dominated by people from one region.
Oh yeah.
So that's why there is the compromise. That's what I would say. So yeah.
Okay. And the other thing is the other biggest worry in Africa is the corruption. How do you rate? I know corruption is everywhere. Well, corruption is everywhere in the Western world, and anywhere you want, there is corruption. But to a certain extent, corruption in Africa is stalling development and a lot of other areas because nothing is being done. It's where it has been 20 years or 30 years ago. How do we place, well, how do we put Malawi politically? Corruption. How do we rate corruption in Malawi?
Yeah, with the previous government and the previous one, the corruption was really, really bad. And now, with the coming of Professor Dr. Ndala, he's putting measures in place. He has actually put measures in place where corruption has reduced a lot. As I said before, that for a ministry to draw money from the big pot where all the ministries get money from, they have to account all the money they spend in the previous month. If they don't account, they don't get money. So it's put back to the people in the ministries to manage that.
Okay.
Although corruption would be in different forms, like a teacher not teaching the kid the right things, that's corruption.
Oh, yeah.
People being lazy, that's corruption to me. It's not just about money. It's could be a civil servant or a public servant, or a person working in a private company, not doing, like, just not working the hours he's supposed to do, or just sitting on the desk. That's corruption. Just using public money in a different way.
Yeah.
So there's some accountability in Malawi now than before. As I said before, in Malawi, the inflation rate last year, because this current president has took over the government when the government was down at its knees.
Yeah.
So has reduced the inflation rate from over 20% to 7% as of now.
So has any action been taken against the former president, Joyce Banda, or?
Yes, what's happening is they've started taking people to court from the lowest ranks. And they're going up now at the ministerial level or head of department. And I know eventually Joyce Banda will come. But Joyce Banda hasn't been in the country since he didn't do well in the elections. He left the countries in America. So, but I know they will summon him. It's just a matter of time. They want to get more evidence. And as long people, well, of course, people have already spoken give evidence in court that she was the engineer. So it's just a matter of time when the government will do that.
Do you think justice will take its course?
It's already taking its course because some of the top government officials are already in prison at the moment.
Okay, and it looks like there's a little bit of trust with the current president. Economically, I know he's only been in power for a year, but judging in Malawi for say past 20 years, has there been any marked development until now in Malawi, which we can talk of?
Yeah, you know, this current president took the government when the government went down to its knees. Even when people from IMF or running organizations, countries which give bonus money, they stopped giving Malawi money because of what this president Dr. Ndala did. So this man, Dr. Ndala, ran the government from government taxes for 2 years. No funding from any other, no money coming from another. So there was a test for Malawi to run the government for 2 years without any IMF money or what, because they say money was misused in Malawi. And of course it was not easy for Malawians, it was hard, but he managed it. At the moment, the IMF and other organizations have come back. It has helped Malawi for its budget. But then in terms of development, I think he has done a lot within a short time. When you compare with other presidents, they didn't do as much. But this guy, Dr. Ndala, I think I'm impressed.
The political situation in Malawi, is there a fixed term of office?
Yes.
How many terms can?
2 terms.
Only 2 terms, and they go.
There you go.
Okay. So in other words, if he's going to do good for his 2 terms, and then another Joyce Banda comes in, then we're back to where we were.
Yeah, because for example, we had Dr. Banda, who did extremely well over the 30 years. And there was Mozi.
Yeah.
Mozi brought the country down to its knees.
Okay.
There was Dr. Tarika,
Yeah.
brought the country up.
Yeah.
And Joyce Banda brought it down to its knees.
Yeah.
And now Peter's bringing it up. I think I would put it now to the responsibility of this to the voters. The voters should know what they want.
Okay.
Because I remember when I was young, when the multi-party system was starting in Malawi,
Yeah.
and the people wanted change for the sake of change.
Okay. Yeah.
And the Muluzi, since when he was young, was known of corruption. Like there's even just the records that he stole money sometime when he was younger. He was put in prison, and people were saying, "We don't want Dr. Banda. We just want change. We want even the thief. We were happy with the thief." Now, when he was in power for 10 years, people got worse, and ministers joined him, and people were saying, "Oh, we made a mistake." So I think the voters should take responsibility, look the track record of the person they want to become the president. They should not just change for the sake of changing, and that helps a lot.
Yeah. So, right, from your own perspective, on the current situation in Malawi, are you in touch with like stakeholders there or people in decision?
I'm not in contact with any of those, but what I do is I read Malawi news twice a day. Probably I'm up to date with Malawi news than a Malawian living in Malawi.
Yeah.
I read news at about 10 o'clock in the morning and about 3 p.m. Twice a day I go on. I'm up to date every day with what's happening in Malawi.
Okay. Yeah, that's all right. And then now, there's something I wanted to ask about. It's about there's a complaint there, which I've seen flagged up, that the political landscape of Malawi is running dynasties. It's like it has to be certain families or certain individuals that. Is that a true statement in its own right, or it is maybe it's because those are the people that raised up their hand?
To be a president in Malawi is very, very competitive. As I said, since Dr. Banda, there have been 3 other parties who won the elections, and presidents from these parties have become elections. Look at Dr. Banda. He came to Malawi overseas after living overseas for over 30 years. So there's no family to say he came from a family which was powerful to put him there.
I think mostly they're talking about, okay, yeah, he's involved as well in some of these dynasties, but even the other parties, like I read somewhere where they said Peter Mutharika, the president, he succeeded his brother, Bingu Mutharika, the leader of United Democratic Front, which is UDF. Atupele Muluzi is heading the party founded by his father. Former President Bakili Muluzi. Enoki Chihana is leading a Ford party founded by his father, the late Shakufa Chihana. And they only say only the MCP has had leadership successions from different areas. But it looks like the other 3 parties there, it's all the same. It's all, even Joyce Banda, they're saying, she's grooming, not Joyce Banda, with the official hostess, Joyce Banda. Yeah, Joyce Banda is actually grooming, or was grooming, her son to take over as well. How far true it is? Is it because like we three political parties here, like Mutharika, his late brother was the president before, and he's in, and then the UDF, Muluzi, there's another Muluzi there, and then Chihana, his son is also coming in. I know we can talk of the Bush family in the U.S. who have been in politics. The father was a president before, the son was, and the other one, Jeb Bush, was trying to get into presidency as well. But in the African context of things, people would think now it's like a dynasty, it's like a kingdom, so to speak. Do you see it that way, or these are competent people that are also want the high office?
I don't see it that way, in the sense that, as I say, to become a president in Malawi is very competitive, very, very competitive. I'll give you an example. For example, Ndala, he was the president of Malawi. And when he died, Joyce Banda was the president. And when Joyce Banda was the president, people went to the polls.
Yeah.
There was MCP there.
Yeah.
There was PP there. And there was DPP there. But people of Malawi chose the person who they thought would lead.
Okay.
So the people of Malawi were not forced to choose Peter Mutharika. He earned his votes.
Okay.
So if it was like from from the same party all the time, you want to say you are grooming, like say MCP had groomed somebody else who take over from Dr Banda, and that person, then it makes sense. But then these people come from different parties, and Malawi is a multi-party system. It's not a one-party system. So people compete for that. So, for example, if Chihana is good enough, he can take the position. But if he's not going to take the position. Even the son of Joyce Banda. Probably those people who are close to their brother or whoever is the president, they have got bigger ambitions of being like that, so they fight hard for what they do. Just like you have a son, you are a doctor or you are a teacher, your son will say, I want to be like that. I think that's how it happens. So it's just the ambition they want to do. For example, for the Mutharikas, I'll give you an example. When they were young in Malawi, that is about 50 years ago. You know, in the Republic, I mean, Rhodesia, Federation of Rhodesia, yes, and during that time we had governors, These two boys wrote in a tree that I will one day become a governor. The first person who wrote was Bingu Mutharika. And the young brother wrote below there, I will also be the governor of Malawi one day. That was when they were in primary and high school.
Okay.
So they went their own ways. So it means they had a goal in mind that this is what I want to do.
Because naturally in African politics, it rarely happens that way, from the way you're putting it. It's usually a dynasty in the making. A good example, close by, where in Zimbabwe it is presumed that Mugabe wanted to form a dynasty by getting his wife to take over. Being in the same political party, being the party in government, it's not that Mugabe has resigned or lost elections and then 10 years down the line and she's come in to contest. It was that she had to take over from it, but which is some form of dynasty where upon they're saying, oh, it is up to us to rule, and who knows, maybe one of their kids we're going to come after, like the North Korean issue, where we had the grandfather, then we had the father, now we have the son. This is a dynasty.
Yeah, but that is the same party. What's in Malawi is different. People go and compete. They don't take over when somebody is dead. They go and compete. they convince the people, they campaign, and the people choose who they want. And in Malawi, I think everybody has got equal chance of becoming president. Because if it was like one president, like MCP, having people one after the other, brother, sister, then I would say it's true. But in Malawi, it's different.
Yeah. Economically, there's another question about Malawi, which always comes up, where they say it's reliant on the donor funding. Right. One good example was that there was an issue where Western donor countries were saying that we're not going to give you funding until you change the rules and regulations pertaining to gays and lesbians, right? And that it is believed that the source of revenue for Malawi is the donor community, right? Where do you see Malawi in all this?
Malawi accepts conditions from the donor when they're sensible.
Yeah.
If, for example, the gays haven't changed, it's still illegal in Malawi to be gay. And, for example, they were asking us to change some of the bills about the voting of the president or so, funding attached to that. Malawians said no. So, but if the reasons are sensible, yes, they do. But not for the sake, because Malawi has got its own values, culture. People take into consideration all those things. They don't just give away everything to the donors. They don't do that.
Because that's the fear there, where they say, at the end of the day, it's not clear whether they're independent, or they're doing things their own way, or someone else is telling them to do what they're doing. I know it was a heated issue about this changing the rules and some funding being cut off because they said no. I'm not sure where it is now.
We haven't changed. Being gay in Malawi is still legal. So we haven't changed. So it hasn't affected this as nowadays Malawi has got options. That funding comes from the West. Now it goes to China. If West doesn't give money, it goes to China. So it has got options. So we don't have to stick to the Western world. So that's the advantage we've got. China has got very few rules on their funding.
So economically, what's the relationship of Malawi with the other African states? I know the Malawi has forever been controversial, especially during the Banda's time, where he said that he would trade with apartheid South Africa for the interest of his country, because to him it made economic sense for his own people. And then he had an economic arrangement with South Africa, or an agreement with South Africa, where all the other African states were saying no, they need to cut links. What's your view to that, and as opposed to now? We know South Africa is now independent, but that was the view then. But what is the view now?
Dr. Panda was a real politician. Do you know, I think the first bank account for Ndala was in Malawi. You know that? The bank account where he was saving money was in Malawi.
His own?
Yes. And Malawi, Kamuzu helped Mandela a lot. You should have seen when Mandela and Kamuzu met for the first time. People, when they saw that, they changed their views. Malawi was saying, South Africa is not doing the right thing. But to win this war, we must be friends with South Africa so that we can talk, dialogue. Because what happened that time, there were 5 frontline states fighting South Africa. And the Kamuzu said, I can't do that. Malawi and South Africa has got a lot of damages, just like Zimbabwe. I'll be fighting my own people. So how do I do that? I'll put sanctions against South Africa. I'll be doing sanctions against my own people. So how do I do that? The best option I go for is dialogue with South Africa. This war won't take us anywhere else. And if you want to win war with your friend, if you want war to continue, be apart, but join that friend talk sense in that person, that's when you're gonna win. Because Dr. Ndala never wanted war at all. And he's the only one. When he used to live in UK, you know, during those days, they wanted all men to go to war. He was a medical doctor in UK.
Yeah.
He's the only one who refused to go to war. And he relocated, I think it was from Liverpool to Newcastle, because he didn't want to go. He never loved war at all. He was saying, we have taken about 30 years or 20 years to build Malawi. We start fighting now. Within a second, all this is gone. What's the point? So he was that person whereby when people talk war, he never used to go there. Even there was a certain time he stopped going to OAU because they were talking about wars and this and that about South Africa. He stopped. Said, that's not me. So people, very few people overseas or outside Malawi knew about Kanoso. Because even he was, if reporters asked him a question, if he was, doesn't make sense. Even in London, he said, Kanoso question is very childish. He was sort of a person who was different. Because people failed to know him very well, so there's so many conspiracies and other things about him.
Talking now, the memory of Kamuzu Banda, how do you view, there's a lot of young people that are there now in the country and all that. Do they know about all this that happened before, or is the history being told, or what's their view about that political, that time where he was in power and where we are at now, where the country is at now? What vis-a-vis what has happened now and what happened before? I know obviously that was years back, but now there's been some development that has come in. But politically, because one thing I've discovered in Africa, there's a lack of knowledge of our history. Yeah. And so I'm not sure where Malawi is on that.
I know somebody has written a book about all the presidents in Malawi.
Yeah. And
the only man standing, people are asking him to write about the political history of Malawi. John Temple, who has saved all these years and still alive, and I think he might write a book about all this, what happened in Malawi.
Yeah, because John Temple was he the vice president then?
Yeah. So he had been there for a long, long time. And interesting, I was talking to my mother, 2 weeks ago. You know, in Malawi, this drought now because there's enough rain, and she was saying, oh, you know what, I miss Dr. Banda's time. I said, couldn't believe it. And he said, son, I've lived during the era of when the Europeans were ruling us, during the Banda's time, and all these other presidents.
Yeah.
I think the best cream I had when I was with Dr. Banda.
I've heard also that because of the drought, and they're thinking of getting water from Lake Malawi and sort of like distribute it across the country, because like the main source of water for the rest of the country. How do you see that view? What they because it's like an industry. Lake Malawi is like an industry, fishing industry, where I think there a lot of carpenters exported from there. What's your view on that?
You know, why I like Peter Ndala, he's thinking, you know, for a country to develop, you must have a good infrastructure.
Yeah.
Most of these presidents who've been in Malawi, they're still using, Malawi was still using the infrastructure of Dr. Banda, which was there years ago. But the population has tripled.
Yeah.
Like water supply. We use, in the law, we use the dam, what we call Malingude Dam. But this president is now having this project to have water from the lake to the Longway. And in Blanda, water come from Mulanje Mountain to Blanda. So that, because Malawi is experiencing shortage of water, shortage of resources, because the population has gone tripled or doubled, and many of the infrastructure is not coping. So this guy is trying now to rebuild the infrastructure to gather Malawi for the next few years or 10 years or so. That's why I'm saying, you know, for every country to develop, you must look at the infrastructure first. So infrastructure in Malawi was a bit neglected, and this guy is now trying to rebuild that. So I like that idea of the water, because people need water. We got lots of water in Malawi, but then people were starved, were thirsty, couldn't drink water, because there was shortage of water.
Okay, then the other thing I want to ask is that, okay, from with your experience, you went to school in the UK, university, PhDs, you've lived there, you've lived in New Zealand, you've lived in Australia, and all that. You've had a vast amount of experience in the Western world or spectrum. If today you decide to go to Malawi, what have you got to offer, or what would you suggest, or what would you tell them, or even if they seek audience to you, how do you think which way do they have to move forward?
First of all, I'll be talking about basic needs. No Malawian should suffer because of lacking basic needs. That's point number one. Regardless of what they want to do, there should be enough water, enough food, enough electricity. Those are the basic needs that every Malawian has got the right to have.
It should be enshrined as a right.
Yeah, as a right, not like a privilege. So, like what this president is doing, bring water from the lake. Our lake is fresh water. It's not solid water like this is around us. So why don't we use that water for people around Malawi? Well, what that? Those resources, they were underutilized. So basic needs are very, very important. If people are happy, you know, back home people, they don't ask for too much. They just want their basic needs to be met. Have go to the hospital, go to school, enough food to eat, have a better shelter, have power and water, food. That's all what they need. So I think that's the basic thing we need to do. We should invest a lot of money in the basic needs first. After that, then of course we can look at infrastructure. The infrastructure that will be the engine of the economy building up. But with people being sad because they don't have the basic needs, then there's no point.
So where do you place the healthcare there? Is it in need of improvement, or do you think it's adequate, or do you think it has not moved from Banda's time until now?
Yes.
It has not moved.
Doesn't move much. And the current president is upgrading hospitals, building referral hospitals, upgrading the health centers. So it's sort of like starting from scratch. You see? So I think his first term finishes in 2019. I think his second term will be much better. People will see a lot of fruits coming in from what he has built. At the moment, because people are desperate, they just like when you're a student, you're desperate to qualify, to get a good job. But investing on infrastructure in all basic needs, that's what he's doing. But and you're already seeing the fruits of it, like the inflation has gone down. This is the lowest it has ever been for a long, long time. Probably, I remember during Dr. Ndala's time, and you're talking of 40, 50 years. That's when the inflation was like, so this man has managed to bring it down. So he's on the right track to make sure that the economy grows and people are happy. And as I said, Malawi's population has tripled. I remember during my time, we were only about 3-4 million. Now it's about 17-16 million. Using the same infrastructure of Dr. Ndala. You know,
So
the same roads.
Literally, it's 50 years behind.
So the same roads. So this guy is building dual lanes, upgrading airports into international. Like he's having probably, I think, you have 3 international airports or 4 international airports, and he's doing a lot within a specific time. For example, in Blanta, we had only one road going to the city. but now he's building another one which bypasses Branded for trucks and everything.
Oh, they're like going through Mozambique, Malawi.
Yeah. So that bypassing the city, not going through the streets of the city. So that fastens the traffic, reduces traffic jam in the city. So he's doing a lot. He has big focus. And before in Malawi, you'd have factories in the city. Nowadays, we have factories in small towns. So creating more opportunities in small towns. So he's more focused into a lot in the youth. Now, he wants to build what we call colleges for every district, so that people can learn skills, carpentry, mechanics. That's in every district. And then when the young people come out of there, he's giving them funding to start their own businesses. They can employ other people. So the economy can only get better if there's more job creation and the people are skilled. So that's what this guy is doing, which other president never did. Kamuzu did it up to a certain level. We needed, if this guy had come after Kamuzu, it might have been different. And if another guy could have come after him, like if you had consecutive presidents like Kamuzu, being in Tarika, and this in Tarika, Malawi would have been one of the best places to be. It still is, but it would have been much better than what it is now. And the other day, it was in the news, Malawi is the best tourist country, the whole Africa. Is the third in the whole world for tourists. Shows how safe it is, how peaceful people are, how everybody is looked after. You see, so you can't just by accident be the first in the whole of Africa. You can't be by accident third the whole world.
Well, there's some truth in there. I've seen it as well. Where they rate safe places in the world, and in Africa it's Malawi that comes tops for African countries, which is great. And I believe and I would want the government there to harness that, and cherish it, treasure it, and then develop it so that at least there's better things for tourists, because that could be an industry on its own that would look after people too. Right. The other thing I wanted to look at was Africa. Well, we know Malawi cannot live in isolation. It has to have relationship. It's part of the SADC, and then it's part of the African Union. The rest of Africa, there's like literally we discussed about good governance, fair elections, corruption. Lack of rule of law, and all those things. In terms of Africa as a whole, what do you think needs to be done? Because other countries are going back, wars are continuous, and there's no development. I would give you a good example is that the Southern Sudan, they just got independent very recently, and then there's a civil war again, which I don't think is fair on the people. It might be fair to the people that are organizing these wars, but it's not fair on the people. I would want to think they've seen enough war that they would want to use the ballot. As if they're not happy with whoever is sitting president, they go to elections and win or lose the elections. So now, what do you think needs to be done by Africa? Do you think we need to overhaul the whole system, and if we have to, who has to initiate this?
My own perception. War in a country is that country's responsibility. You should take countries like France. If you fight every day with your wife, it's your responsibility. You can stop it. You can make it continue. You can have external influences, neighbors, and everything. If you want to listen to them, you keep on fighting. But if you concentrate on what you want, you won't fight. Other people can help. They can only do so much. So it needs countries where they're fighting. I know there's too much external information. For example, if you see countries who are still fighting in Africa, they are very rich in minerals.
Yeah.
Very, very rich. South Sudan is very, very rich in minerals.
Yeah.
Congo, very, very rich in minerals. They're still fighting.
Yeah.
But people have to take responsibility as well. Because if you are divided, that will never finish. You got to take responsibility. Is this really what we want after independence?
Okay.
So there need to be a lot of civic education in those countries. Say, what do you want? Why do you fight? Find out why they fight. Probably that will help, because a person from the West doesn't know Sudan, doesn't know Congo, who assume, who have read, but the people themselves know why. For example, in a house, if people are fighting, it's only them, the people, man and the woman, who knows why they're fighting. Neighbors won't know. However, explain to them, but you know, probably you might know because where you started from, where you are. There are other things. The same people in Congo, people in Sudan, they know why they're fighting. I think it's time to say, guys, why are we doing this? Why are we killing each other? We want independence. Independence is on us, on board. It is independence.
There's a talk that says that in every conflict in Africa, there's a third hand.
Yes.
All right. So are you saying it is up to Africa to realize why they're fighting, who is making them fight, and then if there's a third hand, either they agree or disagree with him to go to war? Because, well, what I feel like a good example is the Congo. Right, there were a few camps that were in there. Well, some of these rebels were being sponsored by Western companies that wanted the mining concessions in Congo, which initially they had been promised, and then they were you know, the government then, because the government changed, and then they reneged on them because they're not fair to the country, right? And then after they did that, then these guys, they got a group of people to start fighting, killing their own people. How can we go over this? Because what will happen, it could be just a talk to say, okay, well, we need to realize, you know, that who are we, why are we fighting, and things like that, and finish it off. But it looks like maybe there are other issues that contribute to that as well happening. Your opinion on this? What do you think needs to happen? Because we've got the scenario happening right now in Sudan, South Sudan. It's happening. Congo, it's happening as we speak. But how can this information be communicated to these people so that at least they realize this? Or is it there are other issues that needs to be fixed first so that at least people can realize it? What's your comment on that?
Yeah, for example, in any place, in any country or any workplace, if there is an issue of concern, people need to do a proper study, put things together. Because, for example, in Sudan and Congo, not everybody knows why they are fighting. There's a lot of missing information. They can't put the parts together. So I think the government should be bold enough, have an independent evaluator or researcher to say, why are these things? Talk to people, and by a person who does not know these people, talk to the people from the grassroots, talk to the rebels, talk to everybody else. Then you'll be surprised why these things are happening, and those people can give recommendations why these things. But then we assume the people in the village, they don't know anything. They have to be controlled by the big guns up there. But they might have solutions. That's the other problem in Africa. We all disregard our only pool of information to tap from. We think better information will come from the white people. We're forgetting very valuable information just next door to you. It won't even cost you to find that information. So I still feel it's on the cards of all these people. For example, in Malawi,